to death by the amount of CC that T1 and Burst, by the way, that T1 have in their composition. I feel like this is a mega win in the draft to the side of T1.
Oh, it's beyond mega. Valdez. I don't even...
What is above mega?
I'm not even sure. This is quite a big draft win. T1 is winning out pretty much everywhere. I mean, there will be people that will jump through hoops to say that Kennen versus Aatrox is somewhat of a meaningful win, but the way that it translates into later stages of the game, I mean, you're stuck with a Kennen, so that's a little bit unfortunate. The other thing is that this is also a red side Kennen, so it's going to be harder to find teleport wards in the later stages of the game if it even gets to that point. The other weird thing about the Kennen is the opponents are coming into you. So defensive slicing Maelstroms aren't quite as strong as other defensive ultimates, like defensive Equalizer on Rumble or something. There was definitely many more approaches this team comp could have taken. Even Soraka top would have actually been probably much better here. She beats Aatrox as well, but DAMWON with a very wonky draft. The Kennen and the Lee Sin are just trying to achieve things that are the polar opposite of what Zoe and Ezreal want, whereas T1 are pretty harmonious in their approach here. This game looks like it could just be a stomp.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say that I didn't expect it, as we are going to hop into Game 3 of the night. T1 up against DAMWON. Here we do go, right back onto the Rift, as we're going to have to see DAMWON the heavy underdogs here, especially after the draft. They need to prove it to us and everybody that somehow they're going to outplay one of the best teams in the world, if not the best, at this current time. With a draft like this, it's not going to be easy. So, looking forward to seeing what they do have left in the tank. But if they go down to T1, maybe everybody's fourth place DAMWON predictions are justified.
Well, interestingly enough, Faker is running Unsealed Spellbook here on Twisted Fate, has already selected the W skill point. Also, the Golden Snow Blower skin here.
Whoa!
For Cuz. As we'll see how this TF chooses to build.
Yeah.
Will it be the AP TF or will it indeed be the hybrid? Hybrid TF, or AD TF in general, has been buffed recently a few times in a row. AD, or base AD went up, so obviously that affects Trinity Force because Trinity Force operates off base AD. And then, in addition to that, the mana cost on the R was reduced on Twisted Fate, and that's very big for AD TF because typically it doesn't get to build mana items outside of the Triforce, so has less access to mana.
Yeah, you can see down here in the bottom lane, early game, of course, the two melee champions will struggle against Ezreal Karma. When we were talking about wins in the bottom lane, we weren't necessarily talking about the early levels. That can be a bit difficult for Teddy and Effort to handle here. So they're just going to have to play passively, accept waves into the turret, and try not to take too much damage. You saw the wind wall first was the choice by Teddy. Yep. That's very smart, just to try to lock down as much of this farm as possible with some defensive abilities.
And this lane is just going to be about surviving for the first couple of levels, and then Yasuo Gragas does get the ability to turn it on its head. And Ghost and Barrel, I mean, they're not getting really any meaningful trade or poke damage early on here. Cuz just has complete freedom to keep power farming on the Graves. He doesn't really have any pressure to be anywhere, which is going to be very fortunate for him because the responsibility is on the Lee Sin to make things happen. But again, Lee Sin's role in this team composition is not congruent with what Ezreal and Zoe are trying to achieve.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And we're seeing a little bit of a CS gap come in here in the bottom side as well as the top lane. I feel like that's not necessarily unexpected. And you did talk about how that is one of the matchups where T1 could struggle in terms of player experience. But here we go, down on the bottom side, Exhaust going to be used for quite a while. Is the burst damage enough? It looks like not quite, as Beryl is going to take a bunch of damage there on the backside and will have the back. Used both summoners to get out of that one. Keep in mind that Teddy and Effort now both have flash, so that was actually a very effective gank. It opens up the chance for them to farm. It lets them push and get a good back. As you see, Ghost is kind of floundering in the river. It lets them even get a nice little lead to pick up some of these items, get some good XP, and be ready to, you know, hit the stage of the game where they actually do have a chance to fight up and be favored against that bottom side, I should say. So, very nice gank there coming out from Cuz already.
Yeah, and I think that what we really need to pay attention to is that Summoner spells being blown at any point down in bot lane really sets up for chaos by the Twisted Fate anytime that he has the ultimate available, because Gragas and Yasuo have such insane reach down a lane that with the Destiny Gate becomes very easy to create kill setups. And so far there's still no clear idea of where Faker's going to go with his itemization yet. He goes Merc Tread's first item on TF. Mobility on this champion is just super valuable. And so no commitment to anything yet, AP or AD.
Yeah, but he missed the 2 CS there.
Oh,
so.
all right, just wrap it up. I mean, why doesn't he just, you know?
Yeah.
Talk about.
So I don't really care what build he's going for.
You know, Michael Jordan Last Dance. I mean, this is.
Oh man.
Have you watched that?
Yeah, I watched the first 4 episodes.
Okay, I'm currently on episode 6.
Did it come out on Netflix already? The next episodes? Because it stopped at 4 for me. And I was like, where did they go?
Yeah, the last 2 come out on June 1st.
Oh, they're coming out in packets of 2?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, okay,
but,
that makes sense. Yeah, no, it's really good.
It's fantastic.
Would highly recommend.
Absolutely fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. It makes me think about, this is kind of off topic, but we are going to have a little bit of a gank here as Effort's even here. Showmaker in a bit of trouble. Do they have the damage? Yes. Or no, they don't have the damage. He does have the flash to get away from that one. Doesn't even have to burn the cleanse. I feel like if they were going to go for that play, they needed to flash card first and have him at least blow cleanse as well, because this allows Showmaker a chance to get out of some further ganks.
And Faker does have the level 6 available, and so Ghost and Beryl have to be really careful. Nuguri as well, with the way that Kennen likes to play this lane. Now, Nuguri's doing a really good job up here in top lane. He's up 14 CS yet. Has the cold start as well. But now, this is the scary spot by Ghost and Beryl, where Teddy can threaten to freeze the lane. And Ghost doesn't have teleport available. This is a nightmare spot. They just will bleed so much EXP if Teddy just had elected to hold the wave. But now it's actually slow pushing back into Ghost and Beryl, and I'm not really quite sure why that.
I don't know. It looked originally like he wanted to freeze. Maybe so many of the ranged minions were too low or something? It looks like that
the camera panned away.
Yeah.
So I'm not totally sure what he ended up doing there. It's just so bizarre because bot lane would have been in a stranglehold where you have the Graves in close proximity. Faker has Ignite ultimate available. Beryl's still flashless. If Ezreal and Karma have to walk up, it's a death sentence.
Yeah.
Every single day of the week, and instead, they've now rewarded Ghost and Beryl by crashing back into them. Now, it will grant them a reset, so they'll come back with better combat stats. But the question is this line more winning than having just froze and playing around mid and jungle, allowing them to take over the lane for you? But T1 seemingly just taking the least variance route and playing ping pong and just letting things go as normal. And we do have an answer, by the way. Twisted Fate will be going AP.
Yes. is going to be going into the AP, so Faker not gracing us with any kind of hybrid or AD builds coming out here in the mid lane. Perhaps he'll save that for the future if we do get to see him play it once again. And so, yes, the Yasuo, well, actually, I don't think Teddy went back. Or no, he had 3 daggers. He did go back. He built the boots only. I don't know, that seems weird. But here we go anyway. The Destiny Gate is going to come on in. Exhaust coming in, the flash card, and they should have enough damage. As down he goes. First blood will be fed over to Teddy on that Yasuo in the bottom side as DAMWON with Beryl. We're up here trying to take down the Rift Herald.
And the thing is Ezreal falling behind is not something that DAMWON wants to have happen because he's an integral piece to the team composition, and the Yasuo getting ahead is a nightmare because Yasuo is a pretty key piece in stifling DAMWON's team composition. It's the nature of the champion, the reach that he has inside of the team fights, the win wall. It's very problematic if Teddy gets ahead. He's going to end up CSing the wave. He knows that he can't stay for the turret plate. He's just going to recall.
Hey, look, this looks like a freeze. Little one there. He's having a push into him, but now it looks like he's clearing the entire wave as I say that.
Oh.
Ooh, that auto is gonna follow him.
Yep. It's going to hit him. Wait, what?
Yeah, it hit him.
Oh, I'm blind. I'm lost sight.
No, I think it was actually just invisible.
Okay.
Notice how he's got 1 pot left, so he just says, okay, I mean, I'll just run back down into the bottom lane with half health.
Yeah, he doesn't want to miss any CS or EXP. That's what he's actually racing after, so interesting decision by him. Knows that he doesn't really care about his HP, and he doesn't need to unless he's intentionally looking for a kill. He's just going to rely on the Doron shield and passive HP region to try to get him back up. And Canyon's down here right now, but Cuz is as well. Destiny Gate not yet available for Faker, but he does have the teleport. That almost looks like a Prestige Edition skin, right, for Graves?
The yellow one?
Yeah.
Is that just a chroma?
Yeah.
It's just like a regular...
Yeah, it's the Snowblower Graves, yeah. The yellow chroma.
Graves has a lot of cool skins.
He does. He really does, yeah.
He's got like, he's got both ends of the spectrum too. You know, he's got like the summer skins, the winter skins. He's received a lot of attention as, okay, we're just going to drop it down here, not really wasting any time, as now 4 members of DAMWON are down on the bottom side.
Oh.
Effort already at about half health here as nice win wall. Going to deny a bunch of that. But nice little crash, going to hand over a bunch of gold to the side of DAMWON's bottom lane. Meanwhile, Faker able to take some back here in the mid lane. You'll notice that he went Unsealed Spellbook, and then he went, why is this failing me right now? Anyway, we do have a bit of a dive down on the bottom side here. Nuggery getting a lot of stuns down as Kana is going to survive. Flashes just barely before that last turret auto comes in. So now Cuz going to spot Showmaker here and just push him away. So another nice play with the ultimate of the TF, really making that pick look quite strong here.
Yeah. Manages to get another pick for his teammate. And TF just keeps absorbing all of the assists, and that's perfectly fine. Faker also ahead in EXP here over Showmaker. He just dinged 10, and Showmaker likewise, so Faker only a couple of minions ahead in the XP department.
Yeah.
And even though he's down in CS, you have to remember that TF's passive is very frustrating. Gives him so much extra gold. Honestly, makes passives like Draven look a little bit unfair, you know? TF doesn't even have a mini quest that he has to complete. As 2.5 minutes until that Infernal Dragon, that's going to be a big one. We do have an exciting soul this game, given that it will be either Ocean or Mountain. Here we go.
Hey, there you go. The cast comes in. They're trying to lock down Canyon, and down he will go. The cast knocked him so far away from the range of safety, and he had already burned his kick flash to try to get Teddy into a precarious situation. That was not what happened. It was the exact opposite, as Cuz once again was in position for the counter gank.
And DAMWON just losing some stability around the map right now. They're not down too much. It's only 1,000. Kana going to make a quick detour into the red side jungle of Canyon, steal away the red buff. And that was a bubble that I'm not really quite sure how that hit, but...
Lost sight.
Yeah, lost sight. Not the end of the world.
Yeah. Lobster sauce. Delicious.
You just keep making fun of me, man.
No, it's a good
Whatever,
thing.
it's not a
No,
big
it's a
deal.
good
Honestly,
thing.
it's not a big deal.
It's a compliment.
Not a big deal.
Okay, nice little bait here out of Nuggery. Kind of does not have the range to take him down, and he's also going to get stunned. Should be the eventual kill. Going down and handed over to Canyon. As Nuggery just able to bait that kill into existence.
And, well, that is a bit of breath of fresh air for DAMWON. And we take a look at how this transpires again. What is Beryl doing behind enemy lines is the question. As just a really nice, easy pickup there for Teddy. Kana comes into top lane really quick. And ends up getting brought down by Canyon. Guess he wasn't expecting him to be there. You see the question mark pings going down on the minimap. Not sure who could be issuing them.
Were they really question mark pinging their own teammate in a pro game? Or was it just
no
like,
one's
oh.
safe.
Oh, man. Well, it's funny, by the way, you were talking about this Ezreal pick into Yasuo Gragas. And, you know, maybe people would look at it and say, hey, he's got Arcane Shift, so, you know, maybe he can be safe away from the cask and be fine. That is not the case. As we have seen many times now in a row, the win wall against the True Shot Barrage is pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Every time it comes out, it just denies all of Ezreal's burst damage in one go, while, you know, Yasuo has his own burst damage getting off here. We do have the Infernal Drake coming in. The smite goes the way of Cuz. This guy, he's got the golden smite finger as now the flank comes in, and the dominoes start falling as in goes Faker. Nice blue card, buddy. Not going to amount to much. He knew he wasn't going to get a kill anyway, so he decided, let's get some mana. I'd like to imagine.
Well, the other thing about the blue card is that it has the 0.9 AP ratio now from the TF buff, so it deals actually a lot of damage. So perhaps thinking, you know, I'm not going to get the kill, but I'll do as much as I possibly can. And so Faker now going to start a split pushing. This is where TF starts to become really obnoxious. He's so agile and such a nuisance in the side lanes. Because getting that steal, World Ender in the backline by Kana, doing so much damage. Destiny Gate comes in from the north. Faker not able to find any more follow-up, but doesn't really matter. They ended up making out with a victory. Bottom tier 1 turret didn't quite go down yet, as it looks like it's going to be Rod of Ages into Lichbane for Faker.
Yeah, it's going to give him some pretty nice burst alongside of anything else. Just for the empowered auto on top of the stacking he's got with the Rod of Ages. Now T1 with the control of this game, they're looking to take down the Rift Heralds. 3.5 minutes until the next mountain break here. Will be Mountain Soul in this game. So they decide, let's try to go for this objective, but they're not really... They won't be too torn if they can't get it. They say, okay, we'll just reset it. You know, it's 17 minutes and a half into the game. It's not really going to do too much. So we'd rather not lose our lives over that objective. And see DAMWON looking to posture and perhaps go for it themselves. But again, it's not really that word. It does come down to it.
Yeah, and the Kennen uses his Spellbook Ghost to rush back up to top lane. Gonna have lots of posturing again. Now, DAMWON, they shouldn't want to lose their lives over this Rift Herald, but it seems like they are potentially very eager to do so. So, I'm very excited to watch if this does transpire.
Ooh, that's a nice little spot.
Yeah, that...
Okay.
That was really close. That was really close.
DAMWON. Okay. And in the meanwhile, you can see that T1 weren't really doing too much work. I mean, we do have the Yasuo down here in the bottom side pushing. Let's see if they do actually try to get in here and stop the push, or do they just respect it and say, okay, we'll side push. Looks like Shirley this time will be able to get a second charge on in. The cask going to go wide this time around. Effort has been really clean so far today, but that time around doesn't really pan out. It's now Teddy on vision. We shouldn't have too much more action from here on out.
Minute and a half until the Mountain Drake comes up, and that's a pretty big dragon. Mostly because DAMWON needs to prevent T1 from getting it. Because Mountain Soul, it makes it pretty hard for DAMWON to play. If T1 gets to it, the Kennen and Lee Sin attempted engage is just invalidated. The amount of damage that the full utility support Karma is going to try to dish out is invalidated. The Mountain Soul itself is going to make it so that Zoe doesn't really have a clear opening, and everything is going to fall onto Ezreal. And it's just not going to be a really good sight because none of these champions really build pen. So Mountain is another really good role for T1 in regards to what souls could they ideally hope for here. Lichbane has been completed on the Twisted Fate. Death's Dance on the Aatrox up in top lane. Lethality is the itemization of choice here for the Graves. I imagine that he's going to go Umbral Glaive as his next item. And
oh, this is a bit awkward for Cuz. He's going in back to try to get the minions, and potentially a little bit of help there from Effort. Doesn't pan out. Faker, he doesn't really seem to care. He says, I'm TF, I'm going to split push. If everybody wants to try to collapse onto my Graves, that's fine. But the problem, as you were mentioning here, is picking up that Mountain Drake and denying it away from T1 is going to be quite valuable for this DAMWON team. See if they can do it, though. 10 seconds on Cuz. And you know that T1 are going to try to delay this as much as possible.
And
well, actually... okay.
Well,
Destiny Gate coming on in. Canyon is in a precarious situation. The really nice slicing Maelstrom on a 4, though, as the double knockup will get in the backline, but the damage that comes out here from Nuggery and Ghost is going to be quite effective. Cuz gets here late to the party, says, what happened? Why is the house on fire? Well, that was a really nice play. Everybody stacked up to try to get the kill onto Canyon, that they all stacked up for the Kennen.
And that was a very big turnaround by DAMWON. It's not every day that you get that kind of a slicing Maelstrom out of Kennen. In fact, it's almost pretty unrealistic to get that kind of value. And this is going to actually help DAMWON stabilize in this game. Ghost going to pick up the bot tier 1 turret. Now DAMWON with a 1,000 gold lead. 2 Drakes away from Mountain Soul. We take a look at how this all transpires. And Cuz gets hit by the bubble. Ezreal even coming in to assist a little bit onto the Graves. And right here, this actually looked like a really big blunder because they had Showmaker up in top lane. Destiny Gate, the location chosen by Faker, though. A little bit surprising. The Slicing Maelstrom just getting such insane value. And they get themselves the Mountain Drake.
Yeah, it's quite big. Nice amount of burst damage will be denied from T1, as well as denying them their own extra resistances, what you were talking about before. In that last team fight, you could see that Canyon died immediately. Showmaker wasn't there. But the insane amount of damage that came out from Kennen and Ghost, who had the just crazy amounts of room, was too much for the side of T1 to handle. So maybe just getting a little bit over-eager to go into that fight. But things are going to stabilize here. Again, this is LCK against LCK, so I don't think we're going to have, you know, a team like FPX that are looking for crazy dives on the mid-tier 1 or anything like that. Not just yet. We're just going to be rolling those Gragas bowling balls for now.
Oh, Windwall ended up being cast. 3 minutes until the Mountain Dragon. And Zoe, interestingly enough, did go actually second item Void Staff. So we'll have that pen, and this is really good because when the opponents break 38 magic resistances, the cutoff, where Void Staff will start giving you more pen than an Oblivion Orb. It is nice.
Oh, that was a nice play by Canyon. He's going to lock down Cuz again. Man, Cuz is not too happy with the way this is going. Do they have the damage? They have the Yasuo on the back line. And that Mountain Drake not really going to help out the Cannon, who has no items right now that provide resistances. And just like that, trade 1 for 1. T1 posturing here, trying to push down mid. Faker just barely going to miss and dodge that trouble bubble and get away unharmed.
And so it ended up being a 1 for 1. DAMWON does retain a 1,000 gold advantage. And as everything else does stand right now, Faker is going to go back into split pushing mode. Almost has the Zhonya's Hourglass completed for him. And let's take a look at how this happens. So Cuz kills the blue trinket. Oh, Canyon locking him up.
Late.
Yeah.
But then.
Yeah, then they found themselves a Pikachu. And they put it in the grave. So, not really sure.
Didn't get to evolve this time around.
No Raichu here.
No. Maybe next save.
Well, 1 minute until the Mountain Dragon comes up. And this should be a pretty big fight. If DAMWON end up winning this one, it probably also means they convert into Baron, and then the Baron should help them stabilize into Mountain Soul. And with that, they should be able to win. But things are still definitely dicey. Yasuo almost has the Death Stance complete. Currently has Eye Edge and Phantom Dancer. Graves is a little bit starved in terms of items. Just has the Umbral Glaive and the Warrior.
Yeah, kind of just chilling. We're absolutely back in the LCK. We have lull states. We have just all the regular stuff you would normally see in LCK versus LCK. And now we're going to start the posturing. We got 15 seconds, and okay. That's one way to do it. I'm not sure if that's going to be worth it, though. They're going to get into the backline, but Ghost is going to survive, as does Teddy. But in goes Faker, just flashing in a frontline TF. And he is at half health still.
Yeah.
Somehow able to get into the backline, start the fight, flash under the turret, and get the kill. And now they're going to pick up that Mountain Drake for themselves.
And I mean, he just got so much value out of that Mountain Drake because he actually does have resistances.
Yeah.
He has the Zhonyas, he has the Merc Treads, he has the natural runes as well that he ended up having. So definitely getting some amplification. And this is really problematic for DAMWON. Barrel in no man's land yet again. That is a very bizarre animation when it's like right there, that windmill.
Yeah.
Really looked like he was stepping into hell or something, trying to get those golems.
Yeah, I feel the same every time.
And this is the new Ezreal build, by the way, that Ghost has going on.
I want to see how Faker gets his kill on the Ghost.
Well, that is the frontline TF. Ends up flashing away.
Just ignites him and flashes away. That's it.
Showmaker goes down to the Gragas Yasuo combo. And the game has hit the point where the Yasuo is such a menace. He doesn't even have his third core item yet. The Twisted Fate has so much control inside of his items as well. It's really hard for the Ezreal Zoe to do what they want to do. And then the problem is that they're being dragged along for the circus ride that is the Kennen and Lee Sin that want to just sort of donk off into the opponents. Whereas Ezreal and Zoe would much rather prefer to play a much more controlled team fight, but they can't even really do that because Yasuo and Gragas, they sort of just want to go ham at the backline, being enabled by the Twisted Fate and having the reach of Graves to back them up. So everything is just very disjointed for DAMWON's team comp as we enter the mid to late transition. Things will begin to fall apart.
Yeah, and this is what we were highlighting in the pick ban as well, that we were not very impressed by the draft that did come through from DAMWON here in their second game. And now T1 are finally taking advantage of it here. We got double Death Stance, multiple defensive shoes built, triple Mercuries, Zhonya's on Faker. Obviously the support is very tanky. This is just going in for it. The cleanse, can it save Ghost? It will for now, as Effort is going to take up so much of that turret and allow them to just sit underneath it. The rest of the team, that is. As down will go the turret at the same time. Lichbane going to help out with that one. And they just, it's only one Mountain Drake, but the amount that they're ahead, plus double Death Stance and a Gragas who's quite tanky, even with just the one Mountain Drake, it feels like nobody on the side of T1 can die. Yeah.
It really just feels as though just way too strong is T1 at this point. Also, the Yasuo win wall makes it so obnoxious for Zoe and Ezreal to try to play this game. Karma doesn't really serve a purpose in this game. I'm not really quite sure what the point of the pick was overall. Rabadon set cap is, oh, you know what time it is. It's the DAMWON Baron time.
Let's do the Baron.
I think the D in DAMWON stands for Dignitas. I actually think that's, you know.
Just throwing some casual shade. I like it. And, well, he's dead. Okay, that's a double cast. We did not see Teddy press his R button. Decided he wanted to wait for a better chance here. As he, okay, Showmaker going to flash away from that one. This game, it does feel like, okay, well, he's dead. Who else is dead? Exhaust going to come down, cleanse used by Ghost, and we're just diving. Canyon looks like he will survive for now, but ooh, nearly clipped Canyon in the back there with the cards with the Q. Baker's just frontlining now. Nobody does any damage to him, even the Ezreal. And yeah, let's just walk out of the base now.
They managed.
See ya. Okay. Thanks for the invite. Okay, we'll be going now. Thank you. See ya.
And it looks like Lee Song wants to try to get onto someone, but I don't. Yeah, I think that's the opposite of what is good.
Oh,
hold on, we got a party.
That's a nice little slicing Maelstrom. And T1, oh, Teddy, he's still alive in the back line, but finally he goes down. And Ghost is full health here. And he should be able to chase down that Aatrox eventually. Especially with the Karma shields over the wall.
They need to just go to the yeah, let's go to the objective.
Do the Baron.
They are going to do it, and even though Destiny Gate is going to be available, this is going to go down actually way too fast, but T1 should have a chance to fight over the mountain, and that should mean that T1 are still going to be fine. They were also pooling so much gold.
Yeah.
At the end of this. Let's take a look at how this all transpired. Gold card in. On to Ghost. Couldn't quite get the kill. Red card immediately selected. Brings down Barrel. You can see Showmaker off on the left-hand side. Doesn't really quite matter. He couldn't join the fray. And at this point, T1 ends up retreating. They could have just backed off here, but you can see Teddy wanted to go back in. They try to lock up Canyon, but the stopwatch, it buys enough time. Nuggery gets in with another fantastic slicing Maelstrom. And this was a very bizarre team fight that went in many different directions. And now, DAMWON, they did get the Baron, but here is the follow-up mountain fight, and T1 are still favored at this dance.
Yeah, the Baron is only going to do so much for this team. And you can see that they're already down to half health on the Mountain Drake. Canyon, he's not going to try to just get in there. The seal is not effective. And now that's 2 Mountain Drakes.
9 armor, and I believe 6 magic resistance was what was just picked up by... Oh, no, that because he had grit really stacked. Never mind. But he did get... Yeah, you know, it's fine.
Okay. Teddy thinking about it. The Baron push finally coming in, and you can see a bit of the poke damage. It feels like the first time in the game where it's had any effectiveness. And that is because T1 stayed a little bit too long. Nuggery had a fantastic engage, and they were able to lock down the Baron. We all know the effectiveness of Zoe Ezreal with Baron and the ability to push, or rather siege. Here's Cannon. In a little bit of a rough spot here. That's going to get on top of Barrel as well. Nuggery trying to go down the front again, but the wind wall is going to deny Ghost any damage. Finally, they killed at Lee Sin in the backside that did have his GA, so all of his lives taken away that time around. That's what was taking so long, as T1 didn't really want to just push past him. So they get the 1 kill, and now they're looking to push down mid.
Yeah, I mean, even though DAMWON got the Baron, that's not really enough for them. We knew that they would still be disadvantaged at the follow-up Mountain Dragon fight, and now this means that Mountain Soul is coming in 3.5 minutes, and with Baron dissipating in 30 seconds, I mean, they're going to be back in the same exact spot that they were in prior to the Baron, which is basically in a hole with no way out, and there's no way that they're digging any doors. As this team fight, Lee Sin inside of this also loses his Guardian Angel, which is going to be problematic. It means he's going to be down essentially an item for the next team fight. And T1 are just in such a commanding position right now. Even though the gold score is identical at the top, it is so unimaginable for DAMWON to win a team fight, barring some sort of a miracle 4 or 5 man slicing Maelstrom out of Kennen, and that's just not realistic.
Yeah. It's also not the first time DAMWON have relied on Nuggery to try to 1v9, as he is desperately trying to do. And it's just, it's not really going to work out against these better teams like T1. They understand their win conditions and what kind of items they do have to build. It feels like everybody on the side of T1 is so tanky right now that it's really hard to break through. You see Kennen has the most damage in the game by far. He's had multiple great slicing Maelstroms. He also had a range versus melee matchup in the lane. Just going to pad those stats a little bit. And as it is LCK versus LCK, we're just gonna sit back, wait a little bit, get some vision down. We got 2 minutes until the Mountain Drake comes up. C2 are considering a little bit of a push down on the bottom side, maybe even a bit of a dive, but immediately DAMWON will respond to that. No push, no dive. More lull state.
You know what? We weren't supposed to have any lull states here, Valdez, okay? And you know what? I'm not going to let you bring them up, so I'm just going to pretend that you didn't say that. As we have 1.5 minutes until the Mountain Dragon is coming up. And we're just going to probably play ping pong. That is what we do, okay?
Now we're back.
We're back.
I thought maybe it was different after the first 2 games. But
you know, the 4th season of 13 Reasons Why comes out in a week.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see the first one.
I forgot. You're that guy.
Yeah, you'll cast with Atlas later on in the weekend, and you guys can talk about TV shows and, you know,
yeah,
superheroes and comic books and stuff like that.
I just don't even want to talk to you anymore. Bet you don't even know Pokemon's supposed to come out, right? Next month? And the next expansion?
Oh, the next game?
I don't. Just get out the desk. 40 seconds till the Mountain Drake is coming up. Yasuo, I think, is going for Guardian Angel as his next item. He has the BF sword. Not sure if he's going to be able to complete it by that team fight, but shouldn't really matter. DAMWON are, what are they, hello? What are they?
Well,
they want to be flanked. I get it. It all makes sense now.
They caught effort here.
They did.
He's in a really rough spot. He's going to flash away, but it doesn't matter. Down he goes. Spotted out just like that. Faker says, okay, well, I guess I'm just not going to join up then. Let's continue pushing. This will concede the Mountain Drake to the side of DAMWON, even on Mountain Soul. Cuz isn't even going to try to go in there and steal it.
And this is a really big throw by T1 at this point in the game. This was so free of a Mountain Soul. Faker doesn't even go for the turret. He's respecting the fog of war around the red side jungle of DAMWON.
That's exactly what he was doing. There were so many question pings in exactly that area. He says, well, I have to respect it. Still a ton of damage is getting done, by the way. He built up a massive wave. This is going to kill the turret. Somebody has to respond to it here. Otherwise, that inhibitor is at danger. Or in danger, I guess I should say. Blitzbane, pretty cool item. On TF, you can do about 2,000 damage to the blue buff, apparently, in one go with a blue card. Effort, he's feeling a little bit bashful after that last play. Smack his head into some minions, but that's about it. And the game is going to stabilize outside of the fact that DAMWON did pick up that extra mountain drink. And perhaps LS, which we all know stands for lull state. We may just go into one of those once again. Although Faker is coming up here onto Nuggery, says hello. Oh, he's got a ton of damage, dude. It's insane. And, okay, but that should be a Q. Does he time it? Yes, he does. It's perfect. I'm not sure why he took the ult, though. Well, he's got stopwatch. I suppose that's one reason you do allow yourself the ability to make that mistake, as the cask is going to get Canyon into a bad spot alongside of Effort. And with the TP coming on in, they will say, get away from our support, as Faker essentially alone says, I'm going to take out Nuggery. But again, no objectives for now. They'll just be, well, they do have the Baron available. Not sure if they want to just go for it here. Faker is going to push up the top wave, and in fact, that objective will be incredibly important. After that kill, they've got 30 seconds, even though Nuggery does have the teleport available.
And it looks like they are committing to the Baron. Now, interestingly enough, the teleport on Kenning could be disastrous, but the Baron is going to go down before that happens, unless DAMWON try to take a very extended team fight. Canyon might try to just go for the steal.
Oh, he gets it! He got it! The Baron is huge for DAMWON! Oh, man, and now that's going to be up for a good 15 seconds of right after the Mountain Drake spawns. And that is pretty massive. Nuggery doesn't have to TP either. After this great solo play by Faker, kind of just throw it away.
Faker times the wild cards exactly as then after this, Wind Wall comes in by Teddy, protecting Faker from the True Shot Barrage. Now, interestingly, they knew where Lee Sin was, so when he comes over the pit, the smoke screen has to be there, but it doesn't look like they just wanted a smite fight, ultimately, at the end of the day, and T1 ended up losing it. So now, DAMWON, they're going to have the Baron bolstered stats persisting into Mountain Soul, and this is going to be do or die for both of these teams. And honestly, the fact that this game came to this point, with how far ahead T1 is.
It's never supposed to get here.
That's a world ender.
Yeah, this is one way to try to force a fight. They're going to get the teleport out of Kennen. But now with a pretty strong Baron push, T1 going to be forced to back away and respond to it. We still got a minute 20 on the mountain, but this turret should be going down without a fight. And they get the inhibitor as well, easily. It goes down. But DAMWON, I'm not sure about sticking around here. Seems like they're okay to do it. Just poke away and disengage. As now they will back off. And that mid inhibitor going down is going to add just that extra amount of pressure. That will be quite annoying for T1 with this Baron, or rather the Mountain Drake, coming up here in 50 seconds.
Well, we'll see. This is going to be it. This is going to be for all the marbles, is this team fight. Because if DAMWON gets the Mountain Soul, it makes it very hard for the Aatrox and Yasuo to have a reliable engage. But also, I mean, Ezreal just stacks resistances. And even Zoe now with the Banshee's Veil, going to be going Zanya's next item as well. A lot of resistances on her as well.
Hello?
Yeah, not totally sure what that one was.
You got 10 seconds until Mountain Drake. You can't just eat a paddle start of the face.
Then why did he do that?
I don't know. That's my question. And they should easily be able to burst this down. Mountain Soul will go the way of DAMWON. As you said it before, it did not have to get to this situation. This did not have to happen. But T1 decided this is the way it's going to happen. says, okay, see you later, says Faker. Does a nice amount of chunking to that one.
Now the game is going to be reduced to smoke and mirrors, all centered around the Twisted Fate, and having him try to somehow finagle a victory here. And T1, I mean, you really hate to say it, but they did it to themselves. This game with that random team fight in mid where Teddy wrapped around from Wraiths.
Yeah.
And they ended up losing control right there, as well as the botching of the previous Baron that then just led into this Mountain Soul capture. We're 45 minutes deep in this, and you know,
yeah,
you know, I mean it's happening. It's 45. I mean, it's
I mean the game is
44 minutes longer than 1 minute.
Yeah.
You know, so.
True.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought about it that way. I would have said like 1 minute longer than 44 minutes, but you got me there.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
Yeah. 5-head. Yeah, the push coming in. This is without Baron. But they're trying to force Hana to come back and fight them essentially. As well, that slicing Maelstrom was pretty unfortunate, you would have to say, from Nuguri. Now they do have him in a precarious position. He is just going to get away, though. No ability to lock him down there with a yellow card or anything like that.
They're going to try to stop the back?
Yep, that they will. They don't really have that much poke, you know? They can just have to chase them down. DAMWON, though, not going to go for a back.
Whoa!
This should be an inhibitor, I think. Yeah, they're not backing. They're just walking over. They want to wrap around here.
I think he's going to suicide? Oh, is he going to get a Nexus turret?
He had a, well, with Lichbane, he is going to get a Nexus turret. How about 2? Make it 2! Can you do it? You got stopwatch. Oh, that's so close.
God.
Best split pusher in the game.
Scion who? Like, that's what I'm thinking right now. As, okay, so Smoke and Mirrors will be the game now by T1. And this is such an interesting gear that the team composition is now turned into as, okay, they are committed to this.
I mean, there's no vision here in the jungle for DAMWON. They're so disjointed. Everybody's so spread out. Okay, finally, Karma's going to go back. Cuz in a little bit of an awkward spot. There he goes over the wall. He's going to ult to safety. The Q will land, and there's the kick flash. Cuz will go down. With minions in the base, this will force T1 back. They're looking for more.
TF's almost up, though.
They're TPing in. They want to try to push down mid and end the game. TF in 5 seconds. There's the TP.
Wait, TF's up. Well?
Yeah, TF is up, and this isn't really the same kind of split push they were looking for, but the stun on the Faker, he is going to go down at the last second there, and this might just be it, as DAMWON Gaming are going to group up here. They should be able to take down Teddy, and down he will go, and now 5-on-3, they're pushing on in. Make that 5-on-2, actually. As still Cuz is down, they're looking to push, the inhibitor is going to go down, there's no minions. Can they just tank it up is the question. Nobody on the side of T1 can do enough damage with the Mountain Soul. And DAMWON are going to win this game at 47 minutes in a huge upset up against T1. That is not the game we were expecting, as it was very back and forth. T1 going a little bit too aggressive at times.
Well, they threw in equal fashion to DAMWON. In the sense that the level of throws, I mean, that was definitely a thrown one, you know? If you want to really talk about what the T in T1 stands for, that is absolutely what that was. They were in such convincing game states where it really seemed like you would need the jaws of life or something to pull DAMWON back, and yet it happened. So the initial one is the Teddy wrapping around Wraiths, and then them wanting to make that play in mid while all pooling so much gold, converts into the Baron. Baron persists into the next Drake. And then even after getting the pick off on Nuguri down in bot lane by Faker, they elect into the 5v4 Baron, but they don't execute a defense to not allow Canyon to get a steal. The steal then converts into the soul itself. So, bit of smoke and mirror tried coming out, and then at the very end, you can see that if the Mountain Soul wasn't present, that play that I think Faker made would probably just work every time.
Yeah.
But the added durability and the EHP granted by the Soul, it's just really obnoxious. And, well,
there were just multiple times where T1 was so far ahead, and they did things that were totally unnecessary. Right?
Yeah.
They could have just backed. They could have played it safer. They could have played it LCK style, but instead they were just like, I don't know, just trying to throw their weight around and make a statement when they didn't necessarily have to, and they got punished for it. DAMWON proving that they're not just going to be the pushover that a lot of us expected them to be here in this incredibly difficult Group A, as the early game was all T1s.
Yeah. They were just really far ahead. They were utilizing the Twisted Fate very well and getting so much value out of it as well. And right here, I mean, that was another very brutal team fight where Faker did misuse his Destiny Gate, getting locked up. They did manage to bring it back, though, as right here, I mean, this was a phenomenal team fight. They managed to start off, and Faker getting the kill with the Ignite via the Spellbook. This was the attempted kill on the Canyon, but the stopwatch just doing more than enough, and Nuggery with a fantastic slicing Maelstrom on the Cannon. Managed to turn this all around. This converted into Baron.